Why is self-worth important in relationships? I mean, how does that show up in relationships, and why is that important? Self-worth can be defined a number of different ways.
Yeah.
And we both have our understandings of what self-worth is.
Yeah.
And I just like to know, what is it defined in your words, in your thoughts? How do you define self-worth?
Well, I think of self-worth as something that can be built up over time. I certainly remember when my self-worth was at what I would call a low state versus how I feel about my self-worth now. And I think it has to do with the standards I have for my life, the kinds of people I will allow in my life, like what's my environment, if you will, and the kinds of things I will involve myself in or not involve myself in, conversations I'll be in or not in, and in general, how able I am to receive. So like there's a lot of love out there in the world, there's a lot of abundance, but if my self-worth is at a certain low place, I can't receive it. So I can assess my self-worth based on how much I can receive the love that's coming from me.
Great.
Yeah.
That's great context. How we actually value ourselves based on our lifestyle habits, the deposits, like what we like to say in the Your Day Balance Games, deposits or lifestyle habits, where we actually pour into ourselves. We actually perform self-care for ourselves. We actually put time, energy, and other resources into our bodies.
Very intentionally, yeah.
Yeah, very intentionally into our wellness, into our life overall, where we then feel this rich value of ourselves.
This particular quote really hit me, and it's never left my side since then. And the quote goes something like this: who you bed down with as a life partner can make you wildly successful or unsuccessful, and your rational mind will never pick it up.
Wow.
And the first time I know, like the first time I saw that, I was like, because I thought about people I've been with and where I felt my self-worth was at that time. You teach people how to value you. So that starts with you valuing you.
Yes.
So that's the deposits you were just talking about. What's my say-do ratio for myself? If I said I'm going to take a nap, did I take it? If I said I'm going to drink water, did I drink it? And then am I going to let myself be swayed off of what I say I'm going to do for myself given my environment? Part of that environment is who I'm with. So if I'm with somebody that's not in support of me doing those habits for myself, that could be a withdrawal. That's going to eat at my value. It's going to eat at it. It's going to withdraw from it. So eventually I might look up and say, dang, there were several things I said I was going to do for myself and I didn't do any of it. I don't even remember why I didn't do it. But it happened so slowly and over time that by the time you look up and realize anything, you're in a different place than you realized you were. And I think that's what happens a lot with relationships. And also the self-worth comes in because value is one thing that you're feeding into, and then the worth is over time, how much you've been doing that. So over time, say year 1 or 2 in your relationship, you may not notice anything. But then, year 3, 4, 5, you may not like who you see in the mirror.
I almost equate it to like the appreciation of yourself or the depreciation of yourself as it relates to self-worth.
Yeah, like an asset. If you're the asset, but let's take it outside of us or as people. Let's say like a house, right? So there's a neighborhood here in Atlanta that didn't used to be valued very high because the property value was not up to par with other parts of the city. So you could buy an acre for like less than $100,000 and build on it. And for $200,000, you could have a dope house in the downtown Atlanta area because people didn't value that area. But then they started building. They put the Mercedes-Benz, they started cleaning up, they started gentrifying, all the things. All of a sudden, that same acre was, $500,000.
Yeah, it's worth a lot more then.
It's worth more because the value of it went up. Why did the value go up? Because somebody started making deposits. They started cleaning up the streets, put street lights, they put a new school, they put a grocery store, a Whole Foods.
Yeah.
And then people said, oh, now it's worth more.
Yeah.
So somebody paid that. And that's what happens with us as values. As we deposit into ourselves, over time that value turns into worth. And somebody sees that and they either want to add to it or unfortunately sometimes they want to take away.
Yeah. Sometimes we need to jump ship to get out of a relationship.
But even in doing that, without being able to assess what we're talking about, you can go and recreate the environment. You can leave the environment here and recreate it over here,
Yeah.
and have the same or similar experience.
It's a constant experience of helping clients reframe how they see themselves based on old stories, narratives, beliefs. It's a continuous thing that I'm always around or in with my clients. And one of the things I do see is that there's more personal stability over time as I'm coaching clients reframe the way in which they actually see themselves, value themselves, and thus their self-worth. It's really big, it's really important to understand how our language creates our life. And so oftentimes we'll offer a word exchange or a word change out from a statement or a sentence so that they actually can feel more empowered and not defeated or like a victim in conversations with others or with themselves.
Yeah, in the book Power versus Force by David R. Hawkins, a great book to check out if you haven't already, there's a list of words that are considered power words and force words. And the idea is that you want to move your language and substitute power words where you have been using force words. So kind of like to your point, for example, I had a client who would say things like, I'm being put in danger. And I do understand that sometimes people are being put in danger, so that is a thing. However, that wasn't very accurate in this case. So when I asked her, well, I mean, are we talking about like violence? Are we talking about weapons? Are we talking about you can't leave your house, you're being kidnapped? Like what level are we talking about? And it was none of those things. So I said, okay, maybe danger is a bit of a dramatic word and it creates this hook that keeps you feeling a certain way, like you have to defend yourself all the time. So what if we substituted that word with something like an undesirable circumstance? And I know that's a lot to say that, and when you could just say danger. But an undesirable circumstance doesn't sound permanent. And it doesn't sound like it's harmful.
Doomed. Yeah.
And you can shift it. Okay, this is not the desired outcome. What am I going to do to shift it? There's always a possibility. So the power words keep possibility alive.
Yes.
You know, and in that substitution, now there's a new choice to be made. And I think that's where clients really benefit from talking with coaches. Is they don't necessarily know they have options, or they don't believe it that they do.
The power of possibility.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a great discussion, Chanda. I mean, we could go on for hours about this topic.
There's so much.
We offer that you watch the other videos that we're also posting on this YouTube channel. And if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. And just delve into the content. We'll have many more videos like this. If you're someone that wonders about your level of codependency in your current relationships, we have a survey that you can take in the description below. So take that survey, find out where you're at on that scale of codependency, and if you're interested in learning more about how you can actually be coached through a level of codependency that you do not desire or want to move through, let us know. And please comment in the video comments below. Take care now. Talk to you later.